Pileggi Technical Services, your computers and electronics concierge service.
Alright, time for a little bit of an update. I have everything completely pulled off of this now. I've actually scuffed it up a bit because I'm actually going to paint this. I tried to leave this as nice as possible without having to paint it, but ultimately I'm going to have to paint it because there's all these little sharp areas around where I cut, and you know, I've since filed it so it's nice and smooth. You don't even feel those at all, but you can see a little shiny bit, so I want to clean that up. Also, I did take that trip to the hardware store. No, they don't have screws that small. I tried all kinds of different things. I did manage to come up with this morning, which is just a piece of plywood I had lying around that I cut with the scroll saw. I just put these slits in it now because, well, you'll see why. But it's going to be held together by these two screws in the middle, and then instead of screwing these in individually, I opted to kind of just glue them in from the back because that's the best way to do it. And I also have my big snips out and a piece of scrap metal that I have from a computer case that I'm going to cut for a little plate here. Flip this over, you can see the back side has been completely cleaned off of all the markings that I had on here using denatured alcohol. And this guy will just sit over this like that. And the little piece that I've made up, I've actually went ahead and put some heat shrink on it. I didn't cut the leads to be short because I wanted to make them, you know, just longer, just in case I want to do something with this. And this will fit just right, perfectly like that. And I'm just going to run, you know, some just hot glue or something across the back of this, or maybe cut like a little strip of wood and just hold it in. I haven't figured exactly out. This is a, you know, ongoing thought process thing. And then this will just loop around and connect to the studs that's going to come up through those holes right behind it. And I actually did a dry run of this before, and it came out really good. So the only thing I have to wait for is the other two of these to come in the mail. Hopefully they didn't get lost, and if they did, well, the sender's going to have to resend them. And I'll get them eventually. And I think I'm actually going to order the voltage and current regulator system that I've seen on eBay. It's just a little circuit board basically with a screen on it that'll probably mount from the front or the back or something on this to this. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that panel. I'm going to get this prepped a little further for painting. I'm going to put a couple coats on it, and the next time you see this, hopefully the paint's nice and dry and I have a little bit more progress. I came up with an idea for a plate. I'm actually going to drill a hole out here, a 3/16 inch hole, and I'm going to rivet it in. Actually, you can see I have my rivet set over here all ready to go. Here's the bit, here's the rivet, here's the gun behind the top here. Pop rivets are a good way to go. I got a big piece of duct tape on the back just to hold some place because I'm actually going to drill right through the plate. The bottom of the plate is going to be held in by the piece of wood over here that's screwed in from the front. I actually had to carve away at this a little bit just so I have enough room for the clearance. You can kind of see how that sits in there like that because this little piece has to lip up. But it's okay because it's going to give it a nice effect in the front. And yeah, you'll see this, but I'm not worried about it. All set up and ready to paint. Question is, what color? I have Plaster Dip, I have high temperature black, I got gloss, I got all kinds of different stuff here. I even have a hammered color, which is this one here. This is the one I did the TS clone in. Also did my desk lamp in that. I can go bright metallic. Decisions, decisions, decisions. So many different ways to go. I'm leaning more towards going with a flat black. Gloss just seems like it would make a lot of I don't know, make a mess maybe. I don't know. To make a decision. Pretty shiny. Yeah, it was a semi-gloss paint. I thought it was more of a flat, but whatever. This isn't for perfection. I mentioned that before. I want to restate that there's nothing perfection about this. This is just a conceptual piece. You know, it's far from being an exact perfect unit, but it will do what I need it to do. You see I got that rivet popped in there. Yeah. This is after about 4, maybe 5 coats. I kind of lost track. I was coming back and forth. Now you see, unfortunately, I did get some of this little peeling in here, this orange peel effect. I guess that's what you can call it. Well, it's more like dust and crap got in here, because I am doing this outside, and yeah, it's the fall, and all the stuff's falling from the trees. And, well, like I said, it's not perfect, and it's not needed. It didn't need to be. I'm going to put labels on this. It's not going to look so bad. But we'll see what that looks like when I get that done. I want to let this dry a little bit more before I do any of that. Well, I finally got the other 2 LED displays. So now I have red, green, and yellow. And I'm going to align those on the front of the face. Also, get the paint dried. See, it's definitely got a nice semi-gloss. That's a little more than semi-gloss, I'd say, but whatever. It's gonna look nice anyway. I will have to say, I'm actually not that happy about the wood piece. You can see it's glossy in the front, but the sides isn't. And well, this isn't actually wood, conventional wood. This is, I guess MDF is the best way to say it. It's a weird MDF though. When you cut this, it like turns to dust. It doesn't actually have like any kind of I don't know, like any kind of texture to it. It's just like sawdust and glue. It's, I don't know. It's a nice dense box, but if I really wanted, I could just snap this. You know, it's not the best. But I have these boxes. Somebody made them up for me. They made them up a couple of years ago now for the use of making them into boom boxes, and I never really did anything with them, so I wanted to do something, so I just grabbed one of these off the shelf and started hacking them up. I mean, I think that looks pretty cool. I mean, it's different. Ultimately, though, well, I don't know. I don't know what I ultimately want to do with this. I started looking around online at circuitspecialists.com's website, and they have a bunch of nice stuff on there. And one of the things they had is basically a metal case that's very similar to a benchtop power supply or any kind of benchtop meter with the little feet and the carry handle and everything else, but it's like $39. You know, I feel like if I'm going to buy something, I'm going to spend the money towards an actual real benchtop unit, because that's going to be a lot better than this is ultimately. But I mean, I don't know, I'm this far into it. I mean, all I have to do basically is just mount this inside of it. I mean, this is the whole power supply unit with my thickened wires on it. You know, just mount these, hook these to the front panel through jacks like I have on here, and then, well, that's all you need. I don't know. This case will suit me fine. I'm going to put this together actually and just show you what it looks like. You see that little modification I did in the back where these just sit right in there, and just use those holes as alignment basically, because they're not going to fit in there perfectly. And yeah, they're just going to get glued in. That's the best way. And these are going to wrap around and connect to the backs of the terminals that are going to come in through these holes. I still have to order the green, and I think I'm going with yellow for the negative. I still have to order those binding posts, and I still also have to get some kind of a way to limit current and adjust voltage, and that's going to be mounted out in front. I have an idea which one I want. It's a DC to DC buck converter, and it will take a variety of voltages. I don't have the specs offhand right now in front of me, but it will take a wide range of voltages and lower them down and get 5 amp output. And like I said, the one I'm looking at is a voltage adjustable, which is fine. If I can get my hands on something to adjust its current, that'd be great too. A lot of the ones I've been looking at, aren't the best for that because it has a little trim pot, and I don't really want that trim pot. It's a pain in the neck. I'd rather have something with a screen and buttons you can use. We'll see. But we're going to cut for now and come back when I have this put together. I get some of this front panel put together. It's coming along nicely. It's not perfect, but like I always say with these things, I'm not going for perfection. This is a proof of concept, I guess you could say, that I could actually make one of these. So I might entertain getting a nicer case and whatnot. You know, considering all these were taken from an existing unit, I had the switch lying around. This is probably older than I am. The piece of metal came from a side of a computer case. I mean, it's coming along nicely. Now, I left these two open because I still need to get them. The way these LED units are connected with the hot glue, if you undo these screws in between, which I did paint, I may change them back out to silver to match everything. The whole unit just comes right off the back, so it makes it easy. Also, the new USB connection with the two screws looks nicer. I mean, they're spread far apart, so you don't really get the gist that belongs to that, but it works. I just got the one piece to put in here. Now, this is a modular design in that there's some wires attached to it. The USB connects to some just eye connectors, which will go into a terminal strip. All these voltage readouts have the same kind of connection. They're going to just connect to the back here. I'll flip this over so you can read this. I did mark it off in pen. I kind of color coded it a little bit. Also, the power switch is connected directly to the IC socket and the connector. So you can disconnect this from the board and then undo the screws in the back of the power supply and pull this out if you want to take the whole front panel off. But hopefully there's enough wire here where you don't have to do that. But if I get up close here and show you, like I mentioned, there's the negative 12 volt DC tab, and this ground to earth green spot and the other green spot up here, mind the shadow of my camera. That's a little better. This has actually been sanded down as bare as I can get it. What the idea of that is over here is the ground cables. Now, when I put this together, this piece is going to connect up at the top, and then this is going to sit on the binding post when I get it, the green one. And then there's a longer version of that, which is going to connect onto here, and it's going to go to the chassis. Oh, sorry about that. Ran out of recording space on the SD card in this camera, so of course I had to go copy everything off and got sidetracked with that a little bit. But anyway, back to this. So I put a little bit more time into it, and you can see I have all the wires lined up. Now, I know it looks like a bunch of spaghetti, but it's actually pretty neatly laid out, all things considered. So all the red wires are all the positives, the black wires are the grounds or the negatives to the circuits, just as is DC, and then this is a negative voltage, 12 volt negative voltage lead. Now I don't have the, I've stated before, I don't have the piece for that yet. That's going to go over here, over this hole. I have a red one temporarily in the ground here just to hook up the ground cable. But you can see how I have the path set up from the post here to ground this faceplate to that pin for external usage. That also goes all the way over, connects to a screw underneath here, and then there's another lead that goes over to the actual earth pin on the plug. The two leads over here are for the LEDs, which will snap into the holders at that point. There's really not much more to do with this. No, this is actually how it comes out the case. This is what I'm trying to design it to do. I want to be able to undo these 4 screws from the front. Then the faceplate will pop off. You can undo the 4 screws from the back like you would normally in a computer, and then this would slide out, and then the whole thing comes right out the case. Would probably be the easiest way to do this. And then you don't have to undo all these individual little pieces. Well, that's all about I can really do with this tonight. It's getting late. I gotta go to bed soon because I gotta go to work in the morning. But at that rate, when I come home, I'm gonna do some more work in this. This is actually going to be all for this video because it's going long enough. when I do a follow-up to it, I should have everything finished up with it, and it'll be a complete running unit, and it'll probably be a review video more than anything. So with that, thanks for watching.